The Witoto or the Bora speak of a beautiful story that God gave tobacco to humans so that humans could dream like God dreamt the universe into creation.
El tabaco para mí es la medicina rey en el mundo. Todos los árboles tienen conexión con el tabaco.
The tobacco is like a key that is opening the information that has been forgotten. We have forgotten how to use these plants and how to relate to them.
Tobacco in many indigenous stories, really all over the Americas, tobacco was probably the most widely used medicinal plant, shamanic plant, for allowing people to connect in that realm of spirit.
I have great respect. This is a really powerful plant. And with working with any plant, we had to do it, we really want to do it with the utmost respect and in a ceremonial manner.
Hoy día vamos a empezar la dieta. Entonces, la dieta es un proceso tradicional. Merav y yo estudiamos en la selva amazónica. Nuestro maestro es de la selva. Hemos trabajado mucho con él, con los shipibos, con varios grupos indígenas. Y para ellos, la planta no solo es algo físico, también tiene un espíritu, algo para enseñar. Entonces, durante la dieta estamos trabajando en como 3 niveles: el mundo físico, el mundo de la mente, emociones, y el mundo de espíritu.
So our guests, when they come to diet, they are in isolation. When people are eating like very gentle amounts of food, very clean food, fruits and vegetables, no spices, no oils, to allow to facilitate the process and receiving this very subtle information from the plants.
I am here to do the tobacco dieta with Jason and Merav, to deepen my prayer and connect more with the medicine and see what it has to show me. And I've been already having dreams about it, like when I was in New York.
Started with ayahuasca down in Costa Rica. I did that 6 times, and the curandero there, after the first or second ceremony, strongly recommended that I work with tobacco.
Indigenous people, they have this view of the world where everything around us is alive and holds intelligence. We are looking at these plants as our allies, as our guides, as our friends, and we are building a personal relationship with these plants.
There are things that I'm bringing in, kind of patterns in my life that have come to my awareness recently, things that I want to deal with, things that I want to overcome. So, you know, I'm kind of coming in with that intention.
I started dieting in 2021. I've come back each year, and I've done 3-week diets each year. So this is my final 3-week diet, and then my final maestra will be completed with Ernest.
I know I would be lying if I'm not a little bit scared, but I think that this is a good called a good fear. You know, it's a matter of respecting the medicine.
Una cosa que es muy importante es que el tabaco y las plantas enseñan en el espacio de los sueños. Es su idioma. El espacio de los sueños y el campo chamánico son igual. Porque el sueño es el mensaje de la planta.
The dream space plays a big role in this process. Tobacco is a powerful dreaming plant. And so we are helping the dieters to interpret the dreams, to learn about the dream space, which is almost like learning a different language, because the dreams in the Dieta are different than the dreams in the everyday. It's the trees are speaking in their languages, and the images that are shown are reflecting the inner world of the dieters. So there's like this dance between the consciousness of the dieter and the consciousness of the trees.
Tabaco y los sueños, por ejemplo, muy importante porque el tabaco funciona a base de los sueños. Pero la persona que tiene los sueños tiene que saber discernir. Uno es el sueño, pero otro es el significado. Y ahí los guías.
This kind of more traditional medicine system or a shamanic way, everything originates in the realm of spirit. And that if things are out of order, if there's out of balance, if we have pieces of us that have gone missing, if we have certain traumas, they affect us in the realm of spirit. If that's not brought into balance, eventually our mind or emotions are affected. Eventually, if those are left unbalanced for an extended period of time, we begin to have a physical ailment.
The teachers in this process are the trees and the tobacco. The tobacco is giving us the base. And with the trees, we start to travel to other dimensions to bring information here.
For a lot of us, we don't think of trees as medicine, but in a lot of traditions all over the world, they view trees as not only medicine, but medicines of the highest order. But it's also seen that each of these trees has a spirit, much in the same way that maybe it could be seen that every human has a soul, and every soul is unique, just like every human is unique. This tree is alder. It's really good for cleaning the liver. It's really good for the blood. It's really good for viruses. On a more energetic level, it's really good for kind of coming to terms with the past and moving forward in a very strong and centered way. So before we begin to work with the tree, I always like to first kind of energetically cleanse myself, to connect a bit in prayer and meditation. The spirit of the tree, it can also live in this world through the embodiment of the human. So by taking a little of the medicine of the tree, we as humans can then begin to embody the qualities, the characteristics, the light, the medicine of this tree.
But it's also really important that we don't take any more of the bark than we need, especially from the trunk. And that plants give us many things that we need. They give us oxygen, they give us their medicine, they give us teaching. And so it's nice to make a symbolic offering, and so we're giving the tobacco as an offering. The beautiful thing about humans is that we have the ability to create in a much different way. And that's that idea of embodying the spirit of that tree. Is if we really embody the spirit of the tree, the medicine of the tree, then it can begin to infuse all aspects of our lives, our words, our thoughts, our actions, our prayers, how we create, in which ways we create. We're now taking this very ancient technology that we found, not that we discovered it, but we found it for ourselves in the Amazon, a very specific system, a very specific way of working with plants, a very specific way of connecting. And interestingly, tobacco you also find almost all over the world as well. And then really beginning to use that technology, that way of working, to connect to trees, to where people are coming from.
Because in Europe, people used to work a lot with trees. There's a big tradition there. Also, I believe in North America, but this information has been forgotten. And so the tobacco, working with the tobacco and dieting the trees in that manner can open forgotten memory, forgotten information, forgotten memories inside the dieters. Because all this process that we are doing is a process of remembering.
And if people can experience that same medicine, but with their local trees, I think there's something potentially even more powerful to that. Because it's coming from the land that person is from. It's coming from the ancestors of those people. It's allowing them to connect to the soil of their land, to the medicine of their land.
So when we are sitting in front of somebody, it's like we need to be as a mirror, and as if there is a shield around us. And the issues that you're not working on, this is where the negativity is going to enter, and it's going to hit you. So the work doesn't stop after the dietas as well. it continues.
Also, as our teacher said, I think I've told this to some of you, he doesn't speak a lot. He said curandero, which is what you're in a process of working towards. Curandero no es hi, ho, ho, ho. There was a lot there. It's a few words, but it took me a long time and still to really understand what he's pointing towards. Proud of all of you. So your dietas are officially closed now.
The plant is literally talking to you. And overall with the Dieta, there's so much clearing that happens. And especially with tobacco, just knowing how much it's connected to of so many indigenous tribes and how the knowledge was lost. And I feel like it's important for us to reconnect to the sacred purpose of it. you know, and it's important to know like that we can really sit in that quiet space and really manifest and bring things back into our reality and really create those things that we want.
There's almost a sense that it's not you, that it's something communicating to you. From my experience, the reality is these trees, these teachers, this medicine, they present themselves to you in a way that is undeniable, not just through your thoughts, your feelings, but in dreams. It's got to be experienced, it's got to be felt. You kind of oscillate between pleasure, pain, happiness, sadness. You know, I've been left in overflowing gratitude and given visions from my life, but with the details.
For me, in this past 3 weeks, we went to work with my traumas from my childhood, my relationship with my mother and my ancestors. I gained a bigger sense and a sight of my humanity.
In the past week, I felt a lot of that power coming through dreams. I feel like that's where a lot of my connection is made, in very heavy symbolism and archetypes. And it's always interesting trying to piece out what those dreams mean afterwards, and it can be so profound.
The medicine is a divine intelligence, and it shows you what you've been carrying your whole life. And then it shows you it's unnecessary for you to carry those burdens. It shows you your potential.
This work isn't for everyone. It's something that I think also in a way is very harmful if we're pushing the work, because there's also this very traditional aspect of reciprocity that in order to really receive from this work, we have to be willing to give. We have to be willing to give of ourselves, to sacrifice, to really want to intent to do this work. Because if it's not there, it's a different type of healing.
This process will challenge us. It will challenge us to our core. So people need to know, why are they doing it? They need to feel a calling from the inside to do that.
Usually when you ask most indigenous people, most people who are working in these traditional medicines, they don't have maybe this more Western guru kind of new agey idea that this work is light and rainbows and unicorns and it's just about connecting to beauty. That's part of it, but also part of it is going into the shit, going into the darkness. It's really going into it, feeling that, understanding it, beginning to bring order. Can also be battling, fighting.
Porque como yo crecí en la selva vive el más fuerte, por ejemplo.
For me, martial arts are very powerful because it's very similar in that way. To really understand those things, you need to get punched in the face. You need to get punched in the face a lot. You need to be choked out. You need to have your arm almost broken. You need to understand what it is to have someone who's on top of you, who's bigger than you and is trying to strangle you, and you realize there's no way out. And the only way to learn a way out is through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. That's where something like martial arts is very valuable, because it really teaches you about the real. And ultimately, even in these very ephemeral realms, these kind of shamanic spaces, there's a realness to it, and you have to begin to really recognize that and to work with that, to work with the principles of life and death and entropy and good and bad and light and dark, and what are my capabilities, what am I not capable of? To really have that embodied wisdom, that embodied nature, that embodied teaching, to be able to do this work. Because if you don't, it's very easy to get lost.
El mundo de la medicina, así se camina. Te estoy hablando de años. Así se aprende la medicina natural.
I think as we begin working with people, they're also able to embody the wisdom of these trees and then to spread it into the world, whether it's simply through their words, through their thoughts, through breaking ancestral patterns, or maybe they begin to serve medicine similarly in the way we do. But either way, each person becomes like a seed and they begin to spread the knowledge and the wisdom of the trees.
I feel called to dedicate my life to connect more people with this knowledge, to connect more people with a well-being and wisdom that is embodied inside of them.